This podcast is brought to you by PwC.
Hello and welcome back to Data Ascent, a technology and data podcast brought to you by PwC Switzerland. I'm your host, Matthew Dunn, and today we are diving in to the recent takeaways from our PwC Digital Leadership Summit. This was an event a few weeks ago where we invited digital leaders from around the globe to discuss topics around artificial intelligence and specifically Gen AI. On this episode, we'll cover briefly each of the sessions over the Digital Leadership Summit and talk about how it impacts our clients and our firm a bit. Joining me today, welcome back to the podcast, is our technology and data partner, Prafull. He was on our first episode, if you may remember. And he also attended the session, was a moderator on one of the panels, and he's going to help me unpack some of the insights from the discussions and the panels. So Prafull, this was an incredible event. We were fortunate enough to be there, and I think we had over 150 people from clients, friends, alumni, everyone, it seemed. A special shout out to our incredible marketing team for making the event happen. And we started strong with Nick Kruger. He was is a member of the Swiss Parliament, and in his speech he kind of underscored Switzerland's need to adopt AI quickly yet responsibly, and it was fascinating to see emphasis on both speed and ethical responsibility. And he raised a crucial point about the risks of AI as well as potentially manipulating public opinion. And the question I want to discuss with you is he highlighted some powerful points about AI and democracy. What are some of your biggest takeaways from his call to action sort of for governments and tech companies when it comes to this technology?
Well, absolutely, Matt. Thanks. So first and foremost, this event was a highlight for us. And I had the honor and privilege this year again to host this event on behalf of PwC. As you said, we had a number of senior leaders covering global institutions in Switzerland, but also coming from different parts of society, such as Nick, who is the member of the Swiss Parliament. Now to your question. So Nick actually started this summit with his keynote. And in his topic about AI and responsible AI, he actually mentioned the framework, how we should, or the dimensions we should look at in the context of AI/Gen AI, which is around transparency, integrity, privacy, and
fairness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. And I think in the sense, right, he was mentioning it's not a one-sided game. So it's obviously the responsibility of the organizations, the companies who are using Gen AI, or the software vendors or professional services firms like us, but also at the very same time, the parliament, the leaders, the political leaders, the opinion makers, the government sector. So I think he was trying to balance it from both sides and trying to also mention that it has to be following these principles, so to say, from a framework perspective. And also when it comes to integrity, just to take one dimension as an example. So whatever we do in the context of Gen AI and AI, if we are building models, if the models are learning, if we're also training them, he also insisted that it's important that no one is left behind, right? So if decisions are taken from a machine, they should in none of the ways be unfair to anyone in the organization. Right. I think it was a very good discussion to also look at the impact of AI and Gen AI on the society. And that's what I liked the most about it, kind of covering it from both angles and dimensions.
Yeah, and it really set the tone and the precedent of the event. We were in there, and it was the first speaker, and we didn't know what to expect. And then right away, we get into these topics that are so crucial to the technology. And I think you a good segue that you mentioned to the impact of Gen AI on society, specifically Switzerland and beyond. That was kind of the panel one, the next session. And we had Simon Maurer from the CIO at TX Group, Milan Kumar, the CIO at ZF Commercial Vehicles, Sarah Mesmer, Deputy CDO at the Switzerland Global Enterprise, and then Raphael van Thuysen, who is part of the AI Sandbox in Canton, Zurich. And this was fascinating to me because they spoke a little bit about AI and early adoption versus being cautious and where businesses and enterprises are at. Early adopters could potentially gain a strong competitive edge, but this data that they're using for Gen AI and AI in general is sensitive, right? So maybe you want to be a little bit more cautious. Where do you think organizations currently stand, versus AI adoption when it's early, or maybe a little bit more laid back and cautious and seeing where things go first?
Yeah, it's a good one again, Matt. And I think as you recall, it's already like few weeks back as we had the panel. But I think our panelists they were really covering different angles, right? As you mentioned, we had different organizations, and what I feel not only from hearing to our panelists, and by the way, I know that one of them will be our guest in the coming weeks.
Spoiler alert.
But also, but also about the clients we're observing. I feel that AI is not a new topic for many of our clients. They have been working with it. They are experimenting on that for a while. And I think the new thing is what the simplicity, the easiness, or the user interface, or the usage of Gen AI also from each and every one of us. That is probably more the new thing which has kind of, has been on everyone's mind. And obviously there is a lot of technicality behind it, the LLMs, which I'll not go into detail now. But I think what we're seeing is that most of our clients are looking at it from different dimensions. They are either using Gen AI, it could be as an end user, leveraging on products like Microsoft Copilot, or they are building apps with Gen AI. They are leveraging the OpenAI models, or they are, if they are large organizations, they are also basically building Gen AI themselves. So we see different aspects of that. I think no one would say they are at the end of the journey. Also in our own firm, we have started using and rolling out Copilot. We're also developing language models which we use in our day-to-day work. So I think the journey has started. Everyone is kind of looking at it into that and trying to identify where the benefits are. Many of the benefits are still on the efficiency side. I think Switzerland being a mature market, before the Gen AI is kind of also rolled out in the front, using or communicating with the clients, like in banks or insurance or in regulatory industries, they want to be sure, right? They don't want to have, especially what I've mentioned before, like applying the right principles of framework, the integrity, the fairness. So one has to be sure that we are using the technology in the right way, and that's where I see it right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned specifically that panel was on the impact of AI in the Swiss society, and very prevalent within the Swiss society is the financial services market, and that is a good transition into our second panel, where we had two leaders from global financial services clients talk about how AI is impacting that sector specifically. Yourself being a former financial services individual, I thought it was interesting about them being able to say the differences they're day-to-day that they're making with their clients with this technology, being able to deliver information more quickly to their customers at a real time. Maybe within our organization or some examples you could think of, what ways have you seen Gen AI being able to deliver relevant information to our clients, our customers, even more quickly?
Yeah, so as you said, in the second panel, we had the large global organizations represented, large banks, large reinsurance firm, and also our own AI Center of Excellence representative. Was a good discussion. Now, what I'm seeing is, if I look at what we are bringing to our clients, I'll just take two examples. We have one of the accelerators called Talk to Your Data. So basically what we are enabling our clients is to, with the help of LLM, basically the possibility to navigate through the data, to explore the data and leverage the ChatGPT or the GPT functionality more from a perspective where the security and governance rules are applied, right? So it's not kind of, you're not risking of exposing your data to the outside world. So I think that's one of the tools. The other product, or the other accelerator, more correctly said, which we are using, is called BPMN AI. It's a bit of a complex name, but in essence, what we do is we are in a position to basically record a conversation with our client, just like we are doing it, and the client can explain about any of the processes they're working at a detailed level. And once when the conversation is over, our product or our accelerator can basically document the entire process in the process notation language called BPMN. And basically you have, in that sense, just after one conversation, a process completely compiled and documented, and to a very good level of accuracy. And this is something which was honestly not possible a few years before. As consultants, we would take a lot of time to document and record and validate and talk again. So basically, we're killing our own business, right? In that sense, that we are enabling our clients with state-of-the-art technologies to do these kind of works much quickly with us.
Oh.
But that's where it is going. So just two examples here.
And I've been fortunate enough to get to know the people who developed this tool and see some of the back end and BPM and AI, and it's truly fascinating just to see how quickly it's evolved and how it's a real life use case. You hear a lot of Gen AI talk and some of it's buzz, but this is a real life use case where we're using it. So it was really fascinating. I think lastly was kind of the fireside chat in the Digital Leadership Summit. We had Katrin Henkel, the CEO of Microsoft Switzerland, and Fabio Costazzi from Mediterranean Shipping Company, MSC as it's known. He's the CIO there. And he raised an interesting point about the need for more imagination when it comes to AI applications. There's a lot of practical cases we're already seeing, and it's clear that the use is real. But also, it's not important to not forget that other side of coming up with these new applications with that creativity. Maybe within this session or the summit specifically, did you see any creative approaches that were discussed that struck you as especially innovative or maybe unexpected?
Well, I mean, there was a fascinating chat which was moderated by one of our own colleagues, chairman of PwC Switzerland. There was really a deep discussion and a very interesting discussion between Microsoft's representative and then one of the largest global clients for them and for us as well. And it was interesting, and I think I could remember a few things, but the one statement which was made by Catherine, which really struck was, and she was talking about Copilot, and she said the Copilot is not per incident called Copilot, but we call it Copilot because at the end of the day, it is a help. It's a tool which is helping a human being who is the pilot, right? And who can take control at any point and steer it. So in technical terms, when we use Copilot for any functionality in Microsoft 365 or for coding, at the end, this is an enablement. This is a support tool. So you can't expect them to be 100% true and, doing the work all by themselves, but we still need the human power, the validation, our reasoning capabilities to make it work. And that's one thing which kind of struck me in my mind because it was really a very powerful statement there. Yeah,
and we expect so much of technology these days, but again, Copilot is for assistance, right? It's not going to, not at this point. So yeah, I think that was really powerful. Well, thank you so much, Prafull. That's all we have time for today, and thank you everyone for listening. We hope you were able to learn about our Digital Leadership Summit and maybe get excited to looking forward to next year. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to dive a bit deeper, visit our website in the bio of this episode. You'll be able to find more resources and contact information there. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform to stay updated on all of our latest content. And we do love hearing from you, so please leave a review or reach out through our website with your feedback or questions. We're here to start any conversations or answer any questions you may have. As Prafull alluded to, look out for one of our future episodes where we'll be featuring a guest from the Digital Leadership Summit on this right here podcast. Until then, I'm Matthew Dunn on behalf of our entire PwC Switzerland technology and data team. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Matt. Thanks.